You can order your copy of my 2021 NFL Draft Guide today. What you'll get is over 550 individual prospect scouting reports like you see here, a ton of information that'll help you keep track of who your favorite team drafts or even signs as a free agent. It's all here, over 650 full color pages in PDF form. You can order your copy at the following link, footballgameplan.com/2021 draft guide. And welcome to another edition of Football Game Plan Scout Team Podcast. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/football game plan. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating. All of those good things. And today we're joined by a very special guest, Brady Davis, quarterback, Illinois State 2021 NFL draft prospect. Brady, I appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you you having me on here so we can talk a little football, man, and catch up for sure. Appreciate it.
Well, listen, you're from Mississippi. You know, I'm from New Orleans, so we're not that far apart where I grew up. And it's funny to watch how you balled out at Mississippi and took what we like to call the next step in Mississippi football. You went to Memphis. You know, you didn't go too far away, just right over the border to Memphis. But you played there, then you transferred to Illinois State. And I wanted to ask you, transferring to Illinois State, I think was probably the best move because of how Illinois State plays football. What made you choose Illinois State when you decided to leave Memphis and go play ball somewhere else?
Really, I mean, I say this, and this is the truth. Really, just what you said. Just I got the playbook and was like, wow, this is it was a lot, and it was a lot asked of the quarterback, and it was really intriguing, and it was hard to figure out, you know, and watching film with the coach and stuff. So that had a big part, and really just the conferences. And I wanted to find the best level of play I could, and I knew that I knew a little bit and heard a lot about the Missouri Valley, and then I really figured it out the last couple of years, and it's top notch. And so really those two things, just playing the best level of competition I could play in that pro style system that I thought I could really flourish in.
And that's the biggest key, the pro style system, because, you know, if you go back 5-6 years, every all-star game, I'm talking about from the Shrine Game to the Senior Bowl, someone from Illinois State was in that bowl game, whether it's offensive lineman, D lineman, receiver, running back. Now you quarterback, you play at the All-Star game and College Gridiron Showcase, but Illinois State low-key puts out some dudes. Even going back to Marshawn Coperidge, I was at that national championship game when they played North Dakota State. And, you know, Coach Spack just does a great job of bringing guys in, developing them, and also allowing them to turn into pros. So that's a unique part. You don't see that from a lot of FBS programs, and to see it from Illinois State is really special. So what was it about that program that you saw your game just kind of grow from one level to the next?
Yeah, really just playing and just playing in that system and having all that responsibility. Obviously, it was the first time I got a chance to start, but, you know, I knew the Memphis playbook, you know, Mike Norvell's system like the back of my hand, you know, spending a lot of time there. And it's a complete different ball game. And I really enjoyed it. And I think just playing in that competition and with the guys you're speaking of, and just the reputation of Illinois State, there was pro teams there every day at practice throughout the season. It was similar in that regard. You know, I think it's looked at as, you know, a great place to develop and then have a chance at the next level. I think you're seeing that all across our conference now. And I'm sure it's been like that. I'm kind of new to it. There's no doubt I have nothing but great things to say about the whole conference. And I think, you know, the players speak for themselves.
Now you got there and you did work right away. You're the Missouri Valley Conference, a newcomer of the year. You were playing well in 2019, steamrolling into the playoffs. Then you get injured and you opted out, you know, prior to this season. You decided, you know what, I'm not going to play in the spring season, but you opted out to declare for the draft. What went into that decision for you to opt out? Because I know that probably was a tough decision to make, considering, man, I was playing really well, and now I'm deciding to leave and take my chances with the NFL.
Yeah, so I had gotten back to full better than ever, and old. I was old, man. I was the uncle of the bunch, really old at this point, and we had young coaches, so new quarterback coach, new OCs and whatnot. In there with them all day, installing, kind of tweaking the offense, really full force ahead. But I knew deep down I'm getting old. I got a wife that's getting still in college, time to figure things out. As I kind of thought about that, relying on my faith, praying, trying to figure out what was my best step forward, we decided that it was time to give it a shot, and it seems to be really working out for me here to come out. I think I have the ability that can be developed. I've seen that. I would have loved to get a third year where I have my breakout season, but it's all in God's plan, and I think what I bring to the table, I think get better.
It's funny because there's a lot of similarities between me and you. My college career was ended with a knee injury, and to watch you bounce back from two is great to see.
Right.
Because things have changed, technology has changed, medicine has changed. Guys are coming back from multiple knee ligament tears, like it ain't nothing. And to see you get back out there and play is great. But I know how hard that is once you get injured the first time. Can you explain to folks that may not know that about that whole process? What is it like when you're injured as a college football player?
It's a whole different. I mean, your life changes, and you're around, and you're with the guys a little bit, but you're just on a whole different routine as everybody. Eventually you get back kind of in the weight training routine, off season and whatnot, but always limitations. You just never really feel the full part of it, and you have to do a lot of hard work and a lot of small things, a lot of unnecessary boring hip exercises and stretch. It's really tedious, man. You really gotta be ready mentally, just as far as just as much as the physical aspect, because it hurts as well. You say you had, I don't know if it was ACL, but you wake up that surgery and you're in pain for about a month there. You got to get through that, and then there's a lot of obstacles to climb and achievements to gain as far as getting that flexion and your bending and all that. So it's a whole grind, and it goes on for a while, but it's like you said, things are progressing, and you see guys bounce back, and I think I really had a smooth recovery the second time, and I feel great. It kind of reset me all over again, I feel like.
Yeah, for me it was about the range of motion and that pain of trying to break through that scar cartilage and tissue, and in your mind when they allow you to run, you in your mind you think you're moving fast, but you're really laboring because you're worried about man, if I make this cut one more time like I did before, it could be over for me. And you really got to get used to agility drills and not just running straight. So it's a mental thing more so than the physical one right away, man. When you look at, now you've opted out,
Right.
and you decide you're going to prepare for the NFL. You get this all-star game opportunity with the College Gridiron Showcase, which is one of the better ones, out there in college football. Now, rewind a little bit. You got some practice time in before you decided to opt out. What was your goal in practice before you made the decision to say, you know what, okay, I'm ready to go now? And then what went into your decision to go to the College Gridiron Showcase?
Yeah, so kind of what I was talking about earlier with them new coaches, we were kind of game planning, we were making changes, and I was kind of like in on all that and kind of like installing and seeing what we were going to do for the spring season. And I was, in those months, I was just happy to be back on the field, man. I was, like I said, I was the old dude, but you would have thought I was the freshman. I was, when you get set out for the playoffs and whatnot, and I felt how good I felt. I was, back balling again, running around like I never had any issues. So I got that in, and then I got that invite. They reached out to me, and we were done with practice at that point. I was weighing my options. Kind of was at a stale point in school. Like, did I start grad school? Probably not a need, because I'm gonna be gone in the spring. All those different scenarios. So that kind of persuaded me a little bit, but I think really just the right things fell in place, and that was a great opportunity for me to get out and meet with teams and throw and be seen again. And then I got another chance in Hawaii to do the same. So those were two big opportunities that I knew I was going to be able to be seen one more time.
And that was key, to get down there and speak with teams, because during the regular season with teams that did play, scouts couldn't get out to these schools like they used to be able to get out to, as far as in droves at every game. And so access was limited. So you got to jump up on a competition. Now, the on-field stuff, I waited this long to bring it up, but dude, your arm is ridiculous. Like, I think you could legitimately throw the football through someone's face. Like the velocity that you throw with and the decisiveness in those throws, you have no choice as a receiver to catch it because it will stick to you.
Right.
You're able to get the ball there in a hurry, man. And
Appreciate it.
what I like about it and watching your game was like, okay, once he sees it, it's coming out. Whether he sees it early or late, the ball is going to come out fast, going to come out with velocity, and it's going to beat coverage. How do you kind of harness that as a strength to where, because sometimes when you have a big arm, it
Right.
can be your biggest weakness. But how you been able to harness that to make it a sustained strength of your game?
I think kind of you alluded to it, just like there's times I know I'm late, but I've just kind of always been able to get away with it. Obviously, as you get up in higher levels, it's a little harder, and you got to test the right guys. So I'm gonna have to fill it out when I get into a training camp because those dudes are the best in the world. But yeah, really just having a quick release and feeling like I can speed up the velocity on the ball and beat coverage whether I'm late. Obviously, trying to work on all the little things to be on time and make it a little easier on myself. But I do think I have that ability, that arm talent to, whether I have to hold on it for a second because of the D line or whatnot, or just there's a lot of factors that go into throwing a football. So I think I can kind of get off weird platforms and kind of double clutch it if I need to, or be a little late and spin it and kind of throw a guy open. I feel like that's just kind of a natural ability. It's something I've just developed with reps more than anything.
And where do you feel as though part of your game that, okay, I know I had this down pat, but where can you still work to get better? You talked about, your footwork and things of that nature, but where do you feel as though you still have room to grow and continue to get better as you move forward?
Yeah, I think just getting down to the check down and not always really just the not being as greedy type thing is something I would like to done this past year. Not scramble as much, find the check down, really try to be more sharp and be more in the pocket and not have to rely on my feet as much. That's I think that's a strength of mine and something I enjoy doing. But as far as throwing wise, just really just like fine tuning everything. I've always never really had coaching like I'm getting right now, so I'm really just trying to fine tune everything and really just look really clean, and then take it to training camp when I am in game live reps. To be able to be clean when it's there, and then when the chaos happens, that's kind of when just that natural ability is able to show.
It's funny, man. I'm smiling because uh, you know, I just think that's a southern thing. Especially at that position, guys is kind of because we play outside all day,
Right.
right? And you kind of grew up playing street ball and playing pickup ball where you better be mobile because everyone around you is fast. So
Yeah.
you better be able to pick it up and put them down. And that's a good part of your game because you look at how you run the football. It's like, man, you can tell he's a Southern cat because of how he's playing. And that's just a way of life that maybe it's different if we're talking up north and we're talking basketball. That's something they could describe the little nuances. But when you see something that's from your region, you kind of like, okay, I recognize that. I could pick his brain on why he's able to do that, but I know where he came from.
Yeah, I played a lot of pickup football and different and we would play each other. This was all through middle school, high school. You got to play safety too. You can't just be a quarterback. I've done my fair share running around for sure. I love out the South too, man. It's different playing in the Midwest. It's a different thing. Football is a different thing in the South for sure.
Now, listen, you went up to Illinois State, and I know it snows up there. What was your first experience playing in the snow like?
I never practiced. I practiced in it a couple times my first year. I remember we had one game where it was just like all off to the side. It was crazy. Freshman, it gets cold out there. Luckily, I have big hands, and I think that kind of. But it's cold, and I've been down in Nashville, and my wife's been up there still, and it's been a cold winter. It's been like, ooh, it was a couple weeks. It's different, man, but I really did get kind of used to it. I can deal with it. If I had to go somewhere in the north, I'm prepared now at least.
Well, definitely you could cut through that strong wind. I know that for sure. You talk about, you know, everything that you've done so far in your football career right now up to this point. What would you say is the biggest thing football taught you?
Um, Really just how to overcome adversity and just how to things haven't gone my way, and it did up until I got to college. Things kind of just always came naturally to me in sports and with football. Started 4 years of high school, and just like never really had has been told no and been told you're not the guy. So I had to learn that, and I kind of had to learn the harder way. I had to learn that, maybe I need to make a move, and I did, and that was what was right for me. And really just finding my path and never losing the love for the game. It was hard sometimes to keep going, but finally I got to where I'm at now, and I couldn't be more grateful. And we'll always try to work in this game at some aspect just because of what it's done for me and the knowledge I've gained from it and the relationships you build, man. It's really awesome, as you know, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing you talked about, not losing the love for the game, because once you get injured, that
Right.
gets put to the test. Like
No,
you start finding all kind of things you hate about it, but what was it about football in totality that you love the most?
I think just being on a team, man, really having guys rely on you, relying on other guys, and those are obviously your brothers. I got brothers from all over the world now, not really all over the world, but from Starkville High School to Memphis to Illinois State to guys I'm out here training with. It's really just it's that aspect that I think I love the most. But and then just the competitiveness, going to war with those same guys on Saturdays, Sundays, whatever it might be, and just knowing that you got to hold up your part because we're all trying to win a ball game, and that's all that matters.
It's funny. I asked a lot of people that question, and it's almost 99.9%. It's always about the guys you play with in
So,
the locker room. The answer is never about the game. Yeah, they'll bring up competition later, but
right.
the first thing is always about
Awesome.
the brotherhood and the friends you make and the guys you play with along the way. Because we know at the end of the day, we all are some of our parts. So the people that we grew up with or played with or bonded with, those real intense moments, both good and bad, man, on the back end, the rest of your life, you kind of like feed off that and you live off that and you thrive off that. That's something that, I know people can find other parts of life that you can relate to, but football to me just is one of those sports that is totally unique from that aspect.
Yeah, because I mean, you talk about the injuries. Like you remember guys that were there with you. That I had a really good receiver that hurt his ACL too. We grinded back together. It all goes together, man. It's really incredible. And being out here, I've been in Nashville for 2.5 months, and now it's like I played on a team with these guys. We're all boys, and like it's a special game. And the coaches I've come across, and the people in the buildings that I've been in and whatnot it's awesome because you always remember some of those memories, and you make great friends along the way.
Now, if someone was scouting your talent and wanted to find out more about your game, which game would you direct them to and say this tells you everything you need to know about what I bring to the table and why?
Yeah, I think if you talk about both years, I think you can go to Colorado State. It's kind of a big road game early in my career playing at Illinois State, and I think you can see me make a lot of big throws against a bigger opponent that we weren't supposed to beat. I think you can look at Northern Arizona last year. We had really been put to the test in the passing game with a lot of injuries and a lot of we had a lot of injuries at receiver, and playing a former coach, and a little talk was had about how they wasn't really worried about the passing game, got to worry about James Robinson. We had a day that day, so just a few moments, but really just I think you got to really dive into the tape. I never threw it more than 240 times. So it's not going to be too much, but you really dive into the tape. I think you can see it in a lot. But I had a great time really just controlling that offense, and I had so much asked of me, and it was fun just even directing James Robinson into his greatness. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I noticed when I studied you back in the summer. I'm like, they don't ask him to throw a lot, so you can't really just look at the raw numbers for what they are. And the game that really caught my attention, I was like, you know what, this dude can ball. It was in 2019, and it was a South Dakota State game.
Yeah.
Big reason why is because I thought you managed that game ridiculously well. Y'all were, I think, perfect inside the red zone. And as long as you could play well in the situation, as long as you could manage, those aspects of the game, that's the most important thing. And obviously, I watched the game against Northern Arizona where you lit them up. I like how you threw it in there. We did a little something that day, like but you threw for over 400 something yards in that game. But you see the talent, but you also saw the pro level talent of knowing when to take the risk, when to take the shot, putting the ball where it needed to be, and doing those things. I thought that South Dakota State game, and obviously that run you guys were on that year was going to be something serious. But you know, at the end of the day, you put together some really good tape, and you went out there and you went to the College Gridiron Showcase. Wanted to ask you as well, when you were down there in Texas and also out at the Hula Bowl, what were some of the things that you were getting back from scouts that you could share, or some feedback from what your play has been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously at that point hadn't seen me play in so long, but I think just the raw ability is something that people see in the arm talent and kind of the things we talked about. I think I helped myself a lot in practice in Hawaii, and I was told that was being take notice, you know, and I think I really, you know, I had the last day of practice. I think I had like a one incompletion. You know, I was really efficient for a guy that hadn't played ball in so long. So I feel like trying to get my hands on that tape. I hadn't gotten it yet, but thought I had a really good week down there, and I think it's just, you know, all about, you know, hit the pro day and then just find the right opportunity. Hopefully, get the name called. If not, you know, find the best one, and then go do the same thing there. Get a lot of completions and just stick. You know what I mean?
Now you talk about your pro day. When's your pro day?
We're going March 17th in the afternoon, so it'll be about 2 o'clock March 17th, I believe. I think Illinois is doing theirs that morning, and we're going to do it right after.
So you're going back up to Illinois State?
Yeah, me and Christian Uphoff, Romeo McKnight, and hopefully Drew Himmelman. I think we're gonna have a pretty good one, man. We'll get a lot of teams out there, it seems like, and I'm gonna have a throw script. I'm really looking forward to, and think I'll test well as well. So it's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, people don't realize how you can run, man. That's why I'm excited to see what you run, if you run the 40. But I know people are gonna be impressed with how well you move and how well you throw on the move. If there's someone in the NFL right now that you truly watch, and I know you're gonna give me the standard Brady Breeze. Who else is pop? Rodgers. Take those three out of it. Who's some of the guys that you're watching right now? Take Mahomes out of it too. Who's some of the guys that you're watching?
Always Stafford, man. Matthew Stafford is always my answer, and I think we have a similar, you know, play style. I think he's tough as nails, obviously, and a great competitor, and he's done it for a long time at the high level. So Matthew Stafford, somebody I always like watching. Now you got Josh Allen, that's a fun study too, and a lot of these guys, man, it's getting incredible. But I've always been a big Matthew Stafford guy. That's always my answer when I get that question.
Listen, you got the arm from Matthew Stafford, and it was interesting about, and this is what people don't understand about arm strength. And I said this about Stafford. This was a Thanksgiving game, and they were playing. I want to say they were playing Chicago or someone, but they were playing cover two, right? And so they had the squatted corner, but they also had the safety on the hash getting over top. The window in the corner of the end zone was about as big as maybe a calculator screen.
Right.
And because his arm is so strong, he got it there. And that's the benefit of having someone like you that can put the ball, that can outthrow coverage. That was the perfect coverage, but a great throw because of the arm strength makes it happen.
God, and I love that. And that's something that, yeah, if you have the arm, man, you got to rip it, no hesitation. And I think that's something that's kind of what I tell myself and look to do whenever I get these opportunities in the training camp, is just be on point with your preparation, know the play call, know the coverage, and then just no hesitation. You just got to rip it, man, and just kind of trust that your training and what you've done for years.
And that's something you've done really well over the course of your career, man. And it's been fun to watch you grow and develop. And we look forward to seeing you doing better things as a pro player. Where can people follow you on social media and follow your journey and keep up with your progress as you make that jump to the NFL?
Yeah, I think I'm just Brady Davis 10. I think that goes back to the high school number. And then I think I'm B. Davis 01 maybe on Instagram. But type in Brady Davis and you'll see a guy with probably some Redbird stuff on.
Absolutely. Brady, listen, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking time, and we wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Sure, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you having me on, in touch in the future.